Hey everyone, C-Dub here for Chronochord Gaming with a quick tutorial video for those of you who have Super Famicom, the Japanese counterpart to the American Super Nintendo, and want to play your SNES games on your import system without the need for an adapter of any kind. Before we proceed, here's your materials needed list. It should be noted that I'm not 100% certain you can play import games on an American Super Nintendo. I don't currently have a American Super Nintendo to test it out. Gotta assume it does work though. If you've tested it, drop me a comment below and tell us what's up. I'll definitely put an update in the video. So on the materials list, you'll see mentioned a 3.8mm game bit. This is simply a special screwdriver bit with a unique head on it that was used to hold together NES games, as well as Super Nintendo or Super Famicom games, and both North American and Japanese Nintendo 64 games. You can find these on your choice of online retailer or auction site, usually between $5 to $7 shipped. These game bits, however, will not work on the original line of black box NES games that have 5 screws instead of 3, as shown. The 5-screw versions were the initial release from what I understand, and can be opened with a small flathead screwdriver. So, here you see an American Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World combo cart, and a Super Famicom Super Mario World on the right. The screws are the same, you guessed it, 3.8mm game bit. Note the cartridge shell shapes prevent you from playing Super Nintendo games on Super Famicom. Bummer. You can of course modify a Super Nintendo to play Super Famicom carts, however. Well, it's time to fix that problem with our games. Get your game bit, make sure to set your powered screwdriver, if you're using one, to the correct setting. You don't want to break your game casing by screwing that one up. Let's start with the Super Nintendo cart. Loosen up these screws and pull apart the cartridge at the top. Make sure not to snap off these little pieces on the top of the casing. There you have it, here's the board. Keep it face up on this side to avoid any kind of confusion, and make sure you lay it down on a clean surface. Always be sure to handle these boards with care. I think it's best to handle it on the edges, not on the contacts, at 2 or more points, and make sure that you're seated at a clean workstation. Don't worry if you happen to get the screws mixed up though. They are universal across NES, Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, and Nintendo 64. Tell you what, for fun, let's switch things up from Super Mario World on Super Famicom over to Super Ultra Baseball, or as it was known here in the States, Super Baseball Simulator 1000. Love that game. Unscrew this the same way you did the Super Nintendo cart. Lift carefully from the bottom and make sure not to snap the tabs at the top off. Now, we have 2 open carts. Time to switch the boards. Note the molding inside the plastic case. The Super Mario 5-in-1 board is a little larger than Super Ultra Baseball. Still fits right into the molding just the same. Reassemble by putting the top tabs back first, making sure you've kept the right side of the internal board facing up. Tighten those screws back up, and if you want, put your Super Famicom game board inside the SNES shell for safekeeping while you play this. Just don't get too mixed up with multiple board swaps. Let's fire this puppy up and see if it works. Here it is, the Super Famicom, Old Faithful. Let's test it out, and it works. There you go, no problems. Text is in English with no issues. Plays just fine as it would on a Super Nintendo. If you're a retro game collector, getting one of these game bits is definitely a wise investment that will only set you back a few bucks. Thanks for watching everyone. Give your old pal C-Dub a thumbs up if you found this video useful. And if you want more domestic and import retro gaming content, Subscribe to us here at Chronochord by clicking the link on screen right now. For Chronochord Gaming, I'm C-Dub. Matane.